Happy Monday. Before I get too far into this video, I do want to apologize. I didn't realize how bad my framing was on this video until I started to edit it. And it is pretty bad. I've got lots of things around me and I'm not very centered, and I apologize for that. So not the best video, but what an amazing lesson that I turned to today. I am in the book by Shannon Noel, 100 Days of Prayer. And wow, courageous questions is the topic of this devotion today. And I just don't think that it could come at a better time. It's exactly what I needed to read. I think that in the past few years, there's been an awakening in our country for sure. And I'm not talking about politics or ideologies or it's a them versus us kind of thing. I'm talking about an awakening of spirit, an awakening of ourselves, that we know that there's something more, especially those of us that maybe weren't close to God. Maybe we had grown up in church and, we had gotten away from that. Maybe we remember as a child praying, but we had gotten away from that. Maybe we wanted to start a Bible study with friends or just spend more time in the morning with God doing devotions, and we had gotten away from that. But I feel like there is this awakening happening. And this lesson today was such a great reminder that, sometimes it can be so hard to share our faith and what we believe, because following the example of Christ is not always easy, and it can be met with opposition. But this lesson today was such a good reminder that it's okay to ruffle feathers. It's okay to not agree with every single person on every single subject. It's okay to say, you know what, I disagree with you, but let's be friends anyway. Let's love each other anyway. Because isn't that the example that Christ gave us? After I read these short devotions and I write down my prayer, I always enjoy going through my basket of images and just picking out some things that I think I may want to use. Most times I don't use everything that I pick out, but it's nice to just quietly and purposefully, there we go, just sift through these things and start cutting. And I always think about what it is that God is trying to instill in me from the devotion and the prayer that I just read and wrote down. The first thing that jumped out at me this morning was the phrase, be daring and bold. I want to be daring and bold with my faith. It's what I want to do. And I want people to know that when they see me, when they see my work, when they read my words, I want to be that example. I want people to go, oh, she's a Christ follower. She loves God. I can see that. I can feel that. The little girl praying on my page is a representation of myself, of when I was a little girl and I had never prayed to my Father in heaven before. And one night I was just so frightened, and I had heard of God, but I just had never prayed. And I felt like maybe that I had to pray in a certain way, but I didn't. I was just brave. And I just asked God to please come and be with me and help me so I'm not scared anymore. And he did. I felt him. And I knew at that very minute that he was real. And I've known it ever since then. Father, I feel like a bridge. Am I? Should I be? How do I do that? Father, I've had an awakening in the past 24 hours of my faith, my spirit. Did I see or feel it before? Yes. Just maybe now, though, I want to actually live it. I want to ask the hard questions. I want to share the hard stuff. Or is it hard? Following Christ isn't hard until it is. I want to stand up and I want to speak out. Do I rock the boat? Do I live my faith, Father? You see me. Here I am. Use me. Fire up my purpose. Set me free.